like many small towns back in the olden days, had a
butcher,
a
baker,
and a
candlestick maker,
but also a lot of rats. There were
Rats in the pantry.
and
rats under the furniture.
there were rats everywhere, and the townsfolk were.
sick of it!
They had already tried almost everything else by the time a strange man with a flute turned up. Bagpipes turned up out of the blue, offering to.
Rid the town of rats.
And the townspeople were very optimistic. There was just one catch. He was asking for a lot of money for his services.
A lot.
The strange man seemed extremely confident, and indeed,
The people are desperate!
so the town mayor and councillors gathered together to discuss where they could
Cut services.
in order to afford his asking price. And they did eventually find the money and agree.
Go ahead!
If you can rid our town of rats,
The mayor said.
pay what you ask.
The man nodded and pulled out his bagpipes and began to play.
A mesmerising
And from all the nooks and crannies, cupboards and cosies, rats came running. As he played, the piper walked slowly out of town via the main street, and the rats, too many to count, followed him and his magical tune. Eventually, the piper arrived at a nearby river, and with a little flourish on his bagpipes, he instructed the rats to all jump in, where the fast-flowing river carried them away from the town for good. The townspeople were quite astonished, but none more so than the mayor, who now realised he must make good on his promise to.
Pay what was asked.
A series of quick mental calculations only came to one conclusion.
If I pay for the piper, I will not be able to pay for the town's pipes. We'll have sewage and townspeople rage through the streets in equal measure.
So, untypically for someone in his position, he unceremoniously reneged on the payment, and the piper was ushered out of the town, swearing to the broken promise.
But really?
Thought the townspeople as they cheered his departure along with the rats.
What can a little man with a flute do for revenge anyway?
Now, of course, is the point where those of you more familiar with the fairy tale genre may expect a happily ever after, but that's not the way this story goes. For some months later, the piper arrived back in town, having spent weeks practicing a new tune on his bagpipes. He waited until all the adults went into church, and then he stood in the middle of the street, Bangenlosenstrasse to be exact. And I know for certain that there is some German person out there who is shaking their head and getting ready to make a comment down below, and began playing. This time, it wasn't rats, but children who were drawn to his playing, and he piped and played, walking ahead of all the children in the town as he led them away to never be seen again. There was just one small child, unable to keep up with the crowd, left behind, and once the piper's tune was beyond earshot and the musical spell broken, the child returned to the town to inform all the heartbroken parents and the mayor, who was unceremoniously not re-elected.